And hello there, Jim here. And what I'm going to show you right now is how I learn a track. Actually, I've been on this track maybe 3 times, so this isn't a completely new session for me. However, I only raced, I don't even know if I did a race. I did 1 race on this track. And this week it is Spa. So what I do is I go into, you have, the racing session here, and then you also have your testing sessions, testing tab. So what I do first is I go to the race part, and over here you have, now I have the series. This is the Fanatec Global Challenge, and so okay, this is the track this week, Spa, and the Grand Prix pits, and this is the car. And over here we have the home, we have sessions, schedule, stats, and results. So what I usually do first, because I don't have all this memorized, is I go into results, and I will just go to an area over here, the strength of field, and look at the different numbers. Okay, and I'll go to where my numbers are. Sometimes I'll go, let's do both. We'll go to the highest strength of field here, and we will look at their times. And let's look at the average lap times. We have 2 minutes and anywhere from 2 minutes and 22 seconds to 2 minutes and 40. Average lap times 2 minutes 21, 2 minutes 40. Okay, so between 220 and 240. Let's go to where my iRating is, which is around 1300, and let's look at those times, see if they're similar to the higher strength of fields. We have 225 to 230, so it looks like maybe there was less accidents. Fastest lap times 220, mid 220s to high 220s. Alright, so we were looking at the 220s to 240s. To be competitive, I'd say you have to be in the 220s. So with that in mind, we will go to a testing session, and we have our choices of sunrise, morning, noon, afternoon, late afternoon, sunset, and night. Now I read this where when you're doing a testing session, you want to do it where it's the slickest. That way you'll get used to being fast on a slick track. Now I assume that would be when, maybe, I have to study up on this. I'm assuming it would be in the morning, around sunrise, when the track doesn't have any rubber in it. But it's also cooler in the morning, so I would think a cooler track would be faster. So I'm just going to stick with the late afternoon. So let's see. Spa. And alright, so we got the correct track, but now we have to look for the configuration. And it's a Grand Prix pits. And this might be different from the other season, last season when I was on Spa. I don't know. We will find out. So let's go on the track and do, this is what I do when I'm learning a track. So I usually just take it slow, because it takes me a while to learn the corners. And what you saw just right now is what my steering wheel usually does.
You've got wheel damage
at the beginning of any session, whether I'm going into a test, a practice.
You've got some damage. Let's get that fixed.
Okay, we'll get that fixed. Now let's watch it. So the steering wheel just glitches, where I have no control of the wheel and the car just goes off until it hits something. So once that's gone through that process, the wheel is fine. So let's go back to test, and we will do this all over again. Alright, we're 20 pits here. So I'm just going to go through the track slowly. Now I do remember I do remember this track. And I especially remember this hill. And I'm just going to go through here slowly. I know this hill was tricky. Now, I don't even know if I raced here. Yeah, I did one race. And up here, from what I remember, I think is an S-curve. And we'll just take this slow. One of the things I did yesterday is change my force feedback setting, making the steering wheel easier to turn, so now I spin out a lot quicker because of that. I'm going to come down the hill. So what I'm doing right now is just seeing how much of this track I remember. I think this is got a turn here, a small short straight, and then another turn. Alright, right there for some reason my wheel kind of gave out on me a little bit, not sure why. Alright, yeah, I kind of remember this now. This right here. Oh, I remember this. Sometimes I often wonder what my screen would look like if I had the graphics turned up, and also if I had a bigger screen. I think this is either a 22 or a 24-inch screen. I know it's 60 megahertz. I know that much. Now up here, from what I remember, is a real sharp right turn, left turn. Here we have a sharp turns here, and we come on to at the beginning of the track. So that's basically what I do now to learn a track. Alright, so on the right side are the pits. That's where we came out. And we started all over again. So I will do this several times until I'm familiar with where the corners are. And I'll slowly pick up the speed. Now this is the testing session, which means the reference car should show up any minute now. And I have the tab over here. There's the timer. Reference car should eventually come on, and you kind of get the race yourself. You can, use the timer up here to show you where you're faster or slower from your best session lap. And then to make it even more interesting, the reference car, gotta get out of 6th gear here, the reference car gives you another point of instant feedback. And this instant feedback is what makes these video games so addicting. Whether it's this racing game or any of the video games that are popular, they all give you instant feedback. And there's a couple other things that make them addicting, but that's just one of them. Okay, let's get back to the beginning here. Hey, I stayed on the track this time. And then I'm going to continue doing some test laps at this track and possibly enter a race today. Alright, so there were 2 test laps at Spa. Okay, I'm gonna go do some practice now. You have a good one.